Anypoint data graph. So I will take any questions at the end of this presentation because of we want to cover the some of the, because of this is very new topic. Only some people might be heard. I think it is going to be the very useful in your organizations for implementations, and I hope this might change even the the way of implementing the MuleSoft APIs also. You can explore later once it is done the session and learn more, and you can share your knowledge also. Yes, so the Anypoint data graph is one, recently released version in May 2021. The MuleSoft has been released this product as part of a Anypoint platform, which is going to provide you the capability of reusing your APIs, whatever you implement in your organizations. And it is going to be the unified data in one place from all the APIs it is going to bring. So you developed 10 APIs already in your organizations. You don't need to create one more experience API to, get the data from different APIs. Using this data graph, you can dynamically query the data from these 10 APIs also. That is a really good feature it is providing using this data graph. As a developer, what you are going to get a benefit is you can dynamically query the data. You can, access all your schemas from the different APIs, and you can consume the data from the different APIs also. With this, what you are going to get your organization. Our organizations are going to get a productivity, and it is going to reduce the operational cost. You don't have to develop anything new if you want to access a new element from any existing API. Or you don't need to develop any new code for a new consumer. Using this data graph, you can reuse the existing APIs as it is, and you can increase your productivity as well as it will reduce the operational cost. Now, to do or to implement this data graph, what are the prerequisites? Either if you want to learn or if you want to use in your organizations, what basic things you should have? We should have Anypoint platform anyways, and you should be aware of Exchange, and you should be aware of RAML or OAS specifications, that is API specifications. We will be familiar with that, and we should have a proper permissions for those API Exchange as well as API RAMLs also. Yes, the Anypoint platform is the basic thing for all your RAMLs creation as well as publishing anything in Exchange and all. As well as we should have access for contributing something in a Exchange. That permission should be there. If you have created any RAMLs or anything, you should have a permission of contribution permission to publish your RAMLs and all. To access the data internally, it is going to call different APIs and all, right? So proper allocation of vCores. It should be allocated for your business group as well as for your organizations if you want to use this data graph. That is a prerequisite. So that means that basically you should be familiar with MuleSoft implementation till now, whatever you are doing. That means the proper implementation, RAMLs, everything. Then on top of it only, we can implement the data graphs. Yes, so I think Ruksar or Ravi, so maybe if anybody post any questions or anything, if you want to ask in the middle, yes, we can take it in middle also. I don't want to read something and give anything. Yes, you can stop anytime. And we should be interactive also. So I'm going to take this architecture. I have an existing organization which has some of the system APIs, and they have implemented some of the process APIs. And currently they have only one web application currently. They created only one web API currently. But the organization, they want to go move on mobilization and digitalization. What they want to do is they want to create a mobile app to tracking the orders or anything. Even they want to create something for the digital purpose also, for exposing for the third parties or for anything. To do this, what will happen? Again, whoever is the organization, they need to spend some money for exposing the data to mobile app, and for the digital application, they need to create a separate experience API. And there might be the process APIs we need to create based on the requirement from the mobile app and digital applications also. To do this, maybe it will take some 6 months or more, but my organization don't want to spend that much time, as well as they don't have that much budget also to implement that. But they want it in some other way. Can it be done it or anything? Yes, the MuleSoft has been provided a new feature now without writing any new experience API or process APIs. Whatever the existing APIs you have in your organizations, they can directly query the data using this data graph, and they can access by the mobile applications or digital applications. Now, an example, that is one benefit. The second thing is, imagine this is the web page I have. So I just took it for the example. So if you see that over here, I have some customer details, some order details, some fulfillment details like tracking details and all. So this page, if I want to fill it with all the data, the order details and all, what this UI needs to be done, they need to call different APIs. They need to call the customer API to get the customer details. They need to call the order API to get the order details to display, and some tracking details and all. They need to call some fulfillment API or anything. So there are multiple calls it is made by this UI to just load this page. It may take longer time because of multiple API calls needs to be done, as well as the data needs to be bring from the different APIs. Instead of doing that with a single request from the UI, they can call a single request, and they can request, they want it customer details, only those details they can query using this data graph. That means using this data graph, it is going to reduce the number of API calls. So with a single API call from the consumer can access our data unifiedly. That is going to be the more benefit, right? So the response time might be the different, because of even the customer API might have 100 fields, but this UI doesn't have and don't need that many fields to be displayed. They can query only the required fields also. That will give even less response time also. That is the one of the benefit it is going to get more now using this data graph. So now that are the two benefits over here we are going to get now. Now, what you can do with this data graph, you can dynamically query the data. That is what we can dynamically query the data from the unified schema. That means all the 10 APIs, if they have, they can query this data from this dynamically. That means I need only the customer ID. I can query only the customer ID. If I need only the order details, maybe order name, number, and the product name, only that I can retrieve it. I can query. I don't need to write a separate code for that. I developed only once, but I can reuse. And with a single UI, the data graph UI, with that, we can use this application data, network data, whatever it is required. And we can reuse or serve the information without writing any code. Yes, I already mentioned, you don't have to write any new code for accessing any data now. Using this data graph, automatically it is going to get it. So some of the features, what it is going to have, that Anypoint data graph is, it is going to have a unified schema. That means I have a customer API. It has a customer data type and address data type. I have an order API which has an order details data type, and similarly different APIs have different data types. Now all these data types are going to create as a unified schema, as a single schema. Okay, so that you can centralize all the data in one place using this data graph. So you can run this data graph using the queries and all, you don't need to maintain any code or anything separately. It is going to reduce overhead and maintenance cost also. And we can consume multiple APIs with a single query, and we can get the data faster. You don't have to query 10 APIs or anything. Only with a single query, it can call multiple APIs also. And yes, I already mentioned, we can add the APIs to the unified schema. If you create a new API system, API or anything in the future, you can add it to your existing unified schema also. Sometime what will happen, I have address data type in a customer API. I have another address data type, which is in a tracking details API. In that case, I have a same data type, right? Why should I have same type? If it is exactly the same data, you can merge those data types and use as a single data type. If it is a similar fields are there, you can link them also. Like, one of the data type has only 5 elements, another data type has 2 elements, but it is a name is same and it is kind of a similar fields, then you can link those data types also using this data graph. Yes, I mentioned this consume multiple APIs with a single request. I'm going to show how we can do that also. Then we can troubleshoot and monitor API performance also. Maybe if I'm calling 3 APIs, how much time my API is taking. Okay, so the what is the response time each API is taking. Those things we can troubleshoot using this data graph also. So, but how exactly it is going to work? So I think, I'm speaking a lot, maybe if anybody has any question in the middle, I can take it for a minute.
Sure, Amir. Like it can be interactive also.
Yes, yes. Any questions? Maybe let me check in a chat.
Yeah, you can check in chat. Yeah.
Does data first? Okay. Is add-on feature. So I think with the current
Amir, you are on mute.
okay, sorry. I was talking. Yeah. So if I think the question is it an add-on feature, additional charges as per the license? So it is currently with Anypoint platform, it is giving by MuleSoft. The cost, I think the additional charges and all we can check with the MuleSoft, but with the latest release of Anypoint platform, if you log in or sign up for the Anypoint platform, you can see the option of data graph newly. Okay, either you can explore more and you can communicate with MuleSoft for the licensing and charges. Does data graphs come with Anypoint subscription? Yes, Anypoint platform subscription, it will come. Yes, is it a similar to Graph API? Yes, it is similar to Graph API. It internally, that Anypoint data graph internally uses the GraphQL. Okay, the GraphQL is another product which is integrated in a MuleSoft data graph. Yes, so another question is, if you want to get a data from multiple system API, do we need to put a joint query and some unique identifier between this API? Yes, that's correct. So we are going to learn this. I will be showing that how we can write these queries, how we can link those unique identifier. That is also we are going to talk about it during the demo. How do you define the common authentication when my different APIs has a different authentication mechanism? That is a good question. So I will be showing in the demo. So Each API will have a different authentication mechanism might be. In a data graph, when you are going to add these APIs, so if you want to use this as a unified schema, first of all, we need to add this API into the Anypoint data graph. During that time, so whatever the secure mechanism you have, that we are going to configure. I will be showing that also. So if you have allocate different vCore for the system API, how we can allocate the vCore for this data graph? So we are not going to allocate any vCore for Anypoint data graph. Based on the system APIs, how the vCores allocated, those it is going to take because of you. It's not data graph. You are not going to deploy it in a runtime anywhere. So whatever the runtime it has APIs, those data we are going to access it. That means we are going to query those data. That's it. So yeah, so the question answered already. The runtime manager, are we going to deploy it in runtime manager with a unified schema? No, we are not going to. We will get this Anypoint Studio, I guess. So it's not with Anypoint Studio. It is a part of Anypoint platform. Yes, with a trial account, but if you logged in recently, like after maybe May 15 or something, maybe, if you sign up for the new account, then only you will get with a trial account this Anypoint data graph. Okay, so I think got much questions are asked. I think it are valid questions. Let me proceed. I think you will get some more idea. So I was talking about, we can query all the APIs data with a single request, and I'm saying that we can reuse and all I'm telling. But exactly how this data graph internally works, that is what we need to know. So what will happen, I created an API, the customer API in my Anypoint platform in a design center. What will happen is immediately, if I create a data type of customer data type, immediately the Anypoint platform is going to store that data as a graph metadata. So the internally it stores as a metadata. Okay. So now whenever if you add that API into Anypoint data graph, this metadata is going to be available within the unified schema. Now, there is one bigger schema. That bigger schema, whenever you add a new API to Anypoint data graph, all your metadata is going to store in a unified schema. And using this Anypoint data graph, what will happen? You can query that data, right? Those fields, whatever the linked fields and all. So that time it is going to access it from that unified schema itself, not from your actual API. So now you don't need to even understand what are those backend APIs and all there. If you are able to access the unified schema, you don't need to understand the backend APIs also. It automatically, your unified schema understand what are the capabilities it has your backend API also. One more thing is maybe I'm exposing the more data my customer API, but which I don't want to show some of the details like, permanent account number, which is part of a customer API, but I don't want to display that, or I don't want to expose that data. In a data graph, still you can, hide that field also. That feature also we have in the Anypoint data graph. So this is how it is going to work. Imagine I'm creating a customer API which has customer and address data type which I created. As soon as I created these data types, the metadata is going to store that graph metadata is going to store it into the Anypoint platform. Now I created a order API. Order data type and status data type, these two are going to create as a metadata in Anypoint platform. Similarly, I developed a new API called product API. The product API database, the data types are going to store as a metadata. Now your Anypoint platform has different data types metadata as a graph metadata available. Now I want to access the data from all these APIs. So if you want to access all these APIs data, either you can directly call these APIs separately, but now using this data graph, you can query with a single request. But to access that single request, but all this data should be available in one place, right? So that place should be now called unified schema. Initially, the unified schema will be empty. There is nothing is available. Now I want to export the customer API data through the AnyPoint data graph. To do that, I add customer API to the AnyPoint data graph. Once I add into data graph, what will happen? That metadata is going to be available in a unified schema. Now I add a second API, order API. That order API related data types or metadata is going to store it into the unified schema now. Now ask me one question. If you see this, my customer data type has address as a data type. Even order API has billing address, which is referring address data type. Is it going to be the conflict or not? It's going to be the conflict. What you can do? So if it is exactly the same fields of having in a two different APIs, you can merge as a single data type and it will store as a single object in a unified schema. But if we have a different elements in a different objects, order API has a more detail, a more customer name as well as some details more in an address. But in a customer address, it might be having less fields. What you can do, these two objects link as a single object. Either you can rename it or you can keep it as it is address, but we can store as a single object also by linking them. Okay, so even I will be showing that how we can link those objects also in AnyPoint data graph. Now I add product API to the AnyPoint data graph. That metadata is going to store it in a unified schema. Now my organization has whatever the three APIs already there. Those all APIs data types metadata is stored into unified schema. Now you can query these objects data directly using this AnyPoint data graph. Okay, so this is what I showed already. The enable the collaboration between the objects types. We can access the data from these different APIs. We can link those objects. Okay, if it is a similar data types, similar elements, I can say. We can merge those data types if it is the same, exactly the same fields if it is having. Okay, that is unified schema. That means the unified schema is, set of data elements or data types, which is part of your unified schema. Now, when you are going to query those APIs, internally this GraphQL. So the GraphQL is one of the query language for all APIs, which is going to use internally by the AnyPoint data graph. Now, using this GraphQL, we can retrieve the data. One thing is, now AnyPoint data graph currently can access only the get methods because of we are going to query the data. We are not posting any data, right? That's why we can't post anything. So still we should use API led connectivity in case of if we have something requirement of posting something and all, but querying, you can get the data only using this data graph. Any questions before I go to the demo?
So there is one question, Amir, from Manisha.
Okay.
How can we pass different authentication by
Yes,
pointing one?
yes, I answered already that. So how we can pass the different authentication mechanism, right? So customer API is maybe exposed as a, we can access using the client ID, secret ID. So when you are going to add this API into AnyPoint data graph, that time you need to configure that. I'm going to show in the as part of a demo also how we can add it. But another API, maybe if it is customer API itself, can be accessible using different secure mechanisms. You can use any one of the mechanism, right, to access the data, so that you can configure while we are going to add it. Yes, one more question is okay. Let me take a question some more here. Can we call unified schema as a common data model? That's correct. It is a single data model for all your existing APIs. How we can pass a different authentication? Already I answered that. I'm going to show you even in my demo also. So mutation is not available on subscription, so not sure. Can data graph call API which are not defined, deployed in runtime manager like external APIs? But it should have, first of all, it should have the API available in Exchange, first of all. And but if you from the Exchange, if you have something mocking data or anything, you can call them. But directly you can't configure those APIs. But if you have exposed a in Exchange, and in the RAML, you might be mentioned the URL, the external URL, then you can call the external APIs also. But the RAML should be RAML or OAS. We need to be published in our Exchange first of all. So if you want to update the data, can't we use data graph? Yes, we can't use. Can we do write operation using this only read operation? We can only do the read operation. Whether this data graph is as per environment. Yes, that's correct. It is as per the environment. So if you have a dev environment has a different data graph, and the production will have a different environment. Will it be any permission access with visible access for the object metadata? Yes, I mentioned already. So if you don't want to expose some of the data, you can hide those data and you can keep it those permission accessing permissions also. Does the data graph to get the details from the process API? Where do business logic? So yes, so if still the business logic and all, if you have more, you have to follow still the API led connectivity, and you can still implement the process API. You can directly call the process API, or if you want to call the system APIs, you can call, but the business logic mostly will be in a process API itself. How does marking happen for this sensitive data? Yes, yes, if the sensitive data, if you don't want to expose, you can put it that in a invisible. But if you want to mask them, you have to implement that in a process API, and you need to mask that. Can we unify mule and non-mule APIs? Yes, we can do. But for the non-mule APIs, you still have to, kind of a RAML, you need to create it, and you need to publish it in Exchange. The reason is, if you want to query the data from the unified schema, those data types should be added into unified schema, right? That is the reason we have to add in Exchange, and we can add that into Anypoint data graph. Yes.
Here?
Yes, there is.
So my question is what is the real-time effect? Suppose I change my system API, so is it going to affect in those changes, or should we redeploy the GraphQL?
GraphQL, you need to update if there is any changes in the RAML.
Not RAML. Suppose there is
logic.
Yes, in the logic.
You don't have to change anything in any data graph, but only if it is RAML change, like data type name changed, maybe, or maybe field name changed. Those you need to update in a Anypoint data graph.
So you mean to say it will reflect in the real time?
Yes. Yes. Because if you are going to call the APIs, that's it. From the unified, you are going to query those data. That's it.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. So I think good. I will start with the demo. It will be interesting, I hope. Yes, so as I already mentioned in this, I'm going to take a similar APIs over here, what I have. I have already something called customer API, order API, and process API. Let me open my Anypoint platform. If you see that, I have already designed them as a RAMLs, and published into Exchange. That is the first step we need to do. So this is everybody aware, the publishing the ramels and all in Exchange. So let me, I think I need to re-log in. I hope most of them already worked on these APIs. So see that I have a 4 APIs ramels over here. What I have done is I already published these APIs into Exchange. That is the first step we need to do. So we all know that how to create a API ramels and publishing into the Exchange. So this is already available. Now these APIs will have mocking services. Okay. So if you want to access some mocking data, we can give that URL in a Anypoint data graph. I will show that how to give that URL and all. But it is published these APIs into Exchange now. And this API is already running in my runtime. Now, this API is already running in my runtime. Let me show those APIs also in the runtime. You can see this API is already running in my runtime. So I can query the data using those APIs now. If I
get the customers,
when I use this URL, this is my runtime URL for the customers API, and you can see I have 2 customers over here with this some data over here. Okay, so now similarly you can get with ID also. Based on the ID also, if I want to get the tracking details, I can query those data also using these APIs directly. So this is all my existing APIs available in my organization. Now how I can implement this in a Anypoint data graph, that is what we are going to show demo now. If I go to now Anypoint platform over here, the previously we used to see only the design center, management center, and the Exchange, right? Now with a, if you log in directly now recently, like not log in, I can say it is, you need to sign up with your new user ID now. If you sign up with a new ID, then you will see the data graph. If you ask me, I have created maybe 3-4 months back my user ID. If I access, can I see or not? You can't say this option. If you sign up recently, then only you can see this option data graph. Now go to the unified and consume. Now what I want to do is, now first I want to add my customer API to this unified schema, the data graph. Now we can see here, you can select the environment. Somebody asked the question, right? So is it environment based? Yes. If I have, this is my free trial, so it is showing only the sandbox. But if your organization has different environment, it will show from here. You can drop down, select it, which environment you are going to create a data graph. Now the customer API, I want to add it into Anypoint data graph. What you need to do, click on add API. As soon as you do this, you can search from the Exchange, or you can select over here, all it is going to list, it is going to show over here. When it is published, this API, every details are going to show. So somebody asked the question, can I access external APIs? Yes, you can access the external APIs, but you need to create a ramel first of all for those the external APIs as a similar data types it is exposed, and then you can add it based on this. Now I'm going to add this customer API into Anypoint data graph. Click on add, click on next to configure URL. Now, so this, I think somebody asked the question, right? If I update the ramel later, maybe logic, not only logic, if even the ramel also changed, then you need to select that from here, whatever the latest version it has. So this is from the Exchange, it is showing this version. Now confirm the selection. Yes, I want to access this version. Everything looks good. If your ramel looks good, then only it is going to come this. Now, yes, so as I said, the external APIs, if you want to access it, in the ramel specification, if you specify that URL, you can take it from that, or you can add that new URL also. That external API URL, you can configure over here. Now, either if you want to access a mocking API URL, you can copy that mocking URL from the Exchange, and you can put it over here. But I want to access my real-time runtime access URL. So I'm going to configure that. So this is customer API. You can give only till this API. You don't have to give the /customer or anything. So that URL I'm going to give over here. Whatever the resources are available in RAML, you don't have to give. Just till base path you have to give. Click on save. Now this is done. Now click on next to provide authorization. So somebody asks how I can provide the authorization mechanism. Now Anypoint Data Graph can provide different types of authorization mechanisms to query that data from those APIs. You can see basic authentication, client ID enforcement from the header, and the client ID enforcement via query parameters. If we have something, custom policies and all, you can select this also. So these are the mechanisms currently it is supported by the Anypoint Data Graph. Okay, so for the demo purpose, one of the API created without any authorization, I can select no auth. My customer API doesn't have any authorization. The next API which I'm going to add it has some authorization mechanism. I'm going to show that. Okay, so no auth I selected because of my process customer API doesn't need anything, because of, if you see, I'm not passing anything in the over here here also. Okay, so headers, I just pass it over client ID, secret ID, but I'm not really using them. So no auth I selected. Click on preview schema. Now when I click on preview schema, it is going to bring all the get methods over here. So my RAML has I think I will open one more tab, Anypoint and customer API. If you see here, I have one get method here, get customer by ID, and one more method, get customers. So that is all customers it is going to get. Now that is going to bring over here the customer, it is that one, customer by ID. This is another method. Okay, so this is going to return list of customers. It is going to return the customer details. Now you can see those data types over here, the customer data type over here, you can see. So this is the queries. We can query two methods over here. This is one method, this is another method. And the data types, I have address data type. You can see those address data types field over here. And I have a details, another data type. Those fields you can see over here. Okay, now you want to edit this schema now in a unified schema. Click on edit schema. Now what you can do, you can add this schema. Now you can see now customer details. Now you need to put visible if you want to access this data. Now if you want to access data, you need to enable collaboration. So the customer ID. So I think somebody asked the question how we can uniquely access, right? Customer by ID, you want to enable this. Now we can select that ID as your unique ID. Okay, but one thing is, make sure that your data types should be at least with the and it should not be not nullable. Okay, that means it should be mandatory, that it should be defined. Click on confirm. Now I enable the collaboration. Now you can access the customer data type, the customer details data type using this data graph now. Okay, and you can see now I don't want to show the address details. You can hidden that, or if you want to make him available, you need to say that visible over here. Okay, so if you don't want to allow the whoever is consumer to see the email ID, you can put it hidden over here. This is how you can secure the data, what needs to be exposed, what needs not to be exposed. Okay, so I can say that over here, whatever the field, if I don't want to access, I can say the phone, I don't want to access it, I can put it that one. Okay, and we can link this data, but as of now the first API I'm adding, I don't have a similar data types or same data types. I'm not going to link or merge any data types. It is the first data type. I'm going to create it in the unified schema. I'm going to leave it as it is. Now if you select address also, you can select that also. You can see that what are the elements you want to show, what elements you don't want to show also. And if you want to rename this data type, you can rename that also. Currently it is address is there. If you want to say customer address, you can mention that also. You can do that also. Okay, so I'm not going to do right now here. Now I can leave it as it is. Now I mention that what can be accessible and what should not be accessible, and I enable the collaboration. Now I can add this schema to my unified schema. Now you can see we are updating the unified schema to reflect these changes. It will take minimum 15 minutes or something. It is taking up to 15 minutes, sorry. So now proceed to unified schema. Now what it is happening over here, you can see it is updating your unified schema with this process customer API to graph. Okay, so that means you need to wait till it updates. As soon as it update, it is going to show the status over here up to date. You need to wait for that up to date, then only you can access this data from the unified schema. Clear? Now you can see the unified schema has now two methods, customer by ID, customer, and it has address data type and customer data type. You can visibly see that what is my unified schema also contain, what data I can access also. That also we can see from here. So till it update, I will take any question, let it update. Then I will show another API to be added into unified schema. Then I will test it, how we can test it and all. So any questions? So I can take it up. You can see it is updating. It will take a couple of minutes. It won't take 15 minutes, I'm sure, but it will take a couple of minutes, yes.
So I have made host everybody. Anybody can ask.
So is it clear, guys? Because of I don't want to be, something I'm saying. Maybe if you have anything add on, maybe somebody might be explode and all, you can add also.
I have a question, Amir. So, like, suppose I want to give my GraphQL endpoint with the documentation. So, just like the RAML, so that they can see the structure. So, is it possible? Okay, hi Amir. You're on mute, I think.
I went mute, yeah. So the GraphQL is something you can query the data, whatever it is exposed. So now if I go to, I will show that in the next step, what I can access it, my consumer. I will give the URL. Okay, so you can directly see that what is exposed directly, you can see. But we don't have any documentation or anything. Whatever the GraphQL is exposed to the data, that you don't have document as of now. Maybe in the future, maybe if MuleSoft enable that exporting some document or anything, that might help. But as of now, you don't have that option.
Okay.
Hey Ami, Ashish here. You're able to hear me? Hello?
I'm going on mute. I don't know.
Yes,
Charanjit.
Ashish.
Yeah. Yes, Ashish.
Okay. So I posted that question. I was working on this data graph.
Okay.
I saw that limitation. You see the primary key. Primary key has to be string in my data type. Is that the limitation you also see?
Yes.
So
That's correct.
Yeah. So then,
yes.
Then how can I work with the other ID? Customer ID can't be a string, right?
Okay, see, if even though it is coming as the number or anything, you can convert that into as a string, right? But if it is an actual string, if it is you want to convert into number, that is a problem.
Yeah,
but if it is a number, you can access
right.
as a string.
Yeah, no, it won't come in your when you're declaring at a primary key, right? It won't visible there. That's the problem. Now you go to your customer details, right? Define your customer ID as the integer.
Yes, yes.
That
will
won't
not
be.
come.
That
will
is
not
not.
come.
Then
That
it's
will not come.
this completely disaster, right?
But yeah, so when you are designing your API, okay, you need to design in such a way it will, you know, this is my primary key, okay. That is how you need to make it as a string itself, even if it is number, but you are going to access with it as a string.
No, but see, my point here is when you are defining your data type, how can we, restrict people saying that? You got my point, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah,
so that is the restrictions as of now. It is there. Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know why. What why they are putting limitation like that? Because when the first time when I worked on use case, I saw, oh, what is this, man?
Yeah, that is correct. Still, there are some more limitations we will be talking about. After this. Yes. Yeah.
That is.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so okay, let me query this data as of now because of we will add it another API later. So you can see you can add the existing API, application. So that I can add it, or you can create a new application over here. Okay, anything we can do. I'm going to create a new one over here, and I can say something over here, data graph demo. Okay, and I can give the description and all. And okay, so there is a problem actually here. You need to browse down. It is going to be go down. Okay, let me scroll down, click on next. It is creating some credentials and all over here. It will generate a client ID, secret ID. It is going to be part of your AnyPoint Exchange. If we go, and you can see those normally in applications list also, whatever the application which I created right now. So now we can see over here, you can write a queries over here. Now I have two methods which I can access it. Get customer by ID, okay, which is going to have the parameter as ID that I can pass it. Okay, this should be passed as a string. That is the reason it is written, that limitation currently it is having. So my API have already customer by ID. You can see I will take it one of the ID over here from this. This is my ID, and I can pass it over here. Now I don't need to access all the data from the customer API. Now I want to access certain data. Those certain data, when a control space I entered, you can access with that. Now I want to access email ID. You can get it. You can see now the phone number is not showing over here. The phone, the visibility I made it as hidden. That is the reason the customer cannot access that URL now, that element. That's it. Now we can give these details and run it. It will call my API, whatever the URL I have configured in my second step. From that API, these details are going to bring over here. Clear? This one? So the data, whatever you want to access it. Now you can't access directly even the address data type over here like this. Can I access it? You can see. You can see. But you need to mention what you need to get it from the address data type also. I want to get it the zip code. So you need to mention whatever the elements you want to query, those elements you can query from here. Clear this one now? Now I tested my data graph now. Okay, using this query. Now I want to access even another details of what you can do, but that should be available to access it, right? My unified schema doesn't have all of them. Now you can go to the list of APIs. I have only customer API is added. Let me add a new API. Add API. Now I'm going to add fulfillment API. Click on that, configure the URL. Now you can see I'm going to select this version, latest version, select. Now I need to give the URL of that API. So I'm going to add a new URL. So I have a fulfillment API URL. I'm going to take it from here and I'm going to give over here, save it. Now click on provide authorization. Now over here, my fulfillment API has client ID, secret ID, the client enforcement is enabled. I can select the custom headers over here. I can pass it over here, the client ID, secret ID. Okay, so let me add it that client ID which I need to configure. So let me take it from one of these APIs. I'm going to pass it over here. And the second thing is client secret I want to configure. So this is how add a header. I'm going to pass it client secret. And this is my client secret for this API. I'm going to add it over here. This is how we can configure the authorization mechanism. If it is a OAuth, you can select, basic auth or anything, you can select this. But as of now, this is only it is supporting. Now, that is how we can pass the security mechanism. Click on provide preview the schema. Now you can see, again, this fulfillment API has list of fulfillments. I can get it and get the fulfillment by ID, only this. Now, if you see this, if I want to get all the fulfillment, I need to pass the client ID, secret ID. If I want to get only the fulfillment, particular fulfillment ID details, then I need to pass the client ID, secret ID, as well as ID over here. And along with the query, I have a fulfillment details over here. Okay, so I can access it that way. Now click on edit schema, because of already my schema is available. So the unified schema, I'm going to add this queries as well as the data types into that. You can see the items, and you need to make it visible if you want to collaborate with the unified schema, that you can do. And you can see what all the details we can access it over here. And fulfillment details, you can see over here. And I don't have anything over here to collaborate the data types. That's why you can see the enable collaboration is not done over here. You can see at least one query method with exactly one mandatory input arguments returned in this type. That means when you are going to return that, it should be the mandatory. Okay, so that's why it is enable collaboration is not done over here. Okay, but we can still add those data types into my unified schema. Still, I think I haven't taken right API now, because I have to show these link APIs. I will do that in the next step. Okay, so nothing, the same elements are available over here. So I'm not mapping those elements or data types over here. I'm adding as it is to unified schema. Okay, so let it add it this. And while it is updating, I'm going to add one more API to link and show that even merging those data types. So I will take, I think I have an order API which is having address data type. I'm going to take this one, configure the URL, confirm the selection, and let me copy the URL of the order API. So I'm going to add this URL over here and provide authorization. I do not have any authorization for this also. No auth I'm selecting over here. Preview the schema. Now if you see this, I have these two methods, and there is a billing address which is having similar data types what I have current in a customer API. So either I can do adding them or linking these objects. Okay, edit schema. Now over here, order details, you can enable the collaboration with the order by ID. Okay, so over here I can select primary key, whatever the string type I defined over here, and click on confirm. Now, as well as if I select here the down, the billing, okay, let me enable the hidden fields. Okay, billing address, and customer I want to enable, and products also, and status also I want to enable it. It has a different data types. You can see different data types are there. Now if I take customer over here, this is having these elements and I want to link it with, okay, and you can see this is customer details. Okay, what I'm going to do, this is customer API. Initially when I added that API related this one data type. Now I want to link with this one, right? This ID I'm going to match with these two elements. So I'm adding the two over here. This is how we can link those two data types. And if you don't want to keep it the customer details, you want to keep it different name, you can keep it with a different name also over here, unified customer details or anything. If you want to put it, you can put it that also. And you can see from the customer type, okay, you are taking this customer details and this is from this, it is going to save it and save these changes. Now as soon as you do this, it is going to link the unified schema data type and this the order API data types over here. Similarly, I have a merging purpose over here. There is another billing address over here. If I take a billing address, the billing address is from this current API, that is order API, but my unified schema already have, I think, yeah, address should be there already. My unified schema should have address also. Okay, is it linking? Yeah, it is linking purpose I'm showing. This is not, I don't want to link it actually, I want to merge it actually. So this is merging. So address here, you can see, this is the address which is unified schema already have. Okay, now I want to merge those two elements. You can see this current type is billing address. The unified schema has address data type. You can see these are the different elements and all whatever it is having. This is what it is showing now. Now you can merge the two confirmation. What will happen now? Your billing address become address over here. It will be renamed automatically because of we are merging this. I'm saying that confirm it, and you can see visibly over here the current data type is billing address. The unified schema has address. Now the two has merged into unified the latest address over here. Clear? So that is how we can link and merge the data types, and click on add to unified schema now. So now it is going to add that linking data types as well as merging data types into your unified schema. Now I'm sure it is going to take a couple of minutes again. So you can see it is adding your system order API to the graph. Okay, so even I think it is even before that also it is still taking some time. It will take now. So the first time, the first API when you add it, it will take lesser time, and when you add it more APIs, right, it is going to take more time. The reason is it needs to be updated with the existing schemas and all, so it will take some time. So we'll give some time. So meanwhile, I will take some more questions. Then it is, yeah, I think the previous one is done. Now the system order API is updating. It will take a couple of minutes again, this one. Then I will execute and show that. Okay. Meanwhile, let me take any questions. How the error message get populated since we have not defined schema for error? Yes. So okay, in this example, I do not have the error data types as a return type. That is the reason it is not there. But if you have in your response the error data type, so that is going to come over here. You can see in the unified schema, the error details can be over here, the data type, and that is how we can query those, even the error data type also. How can I pass different authorization here in run query in a single request? That was my question personally. Okay, understood. So I think during execution, I will show that. The reason is now you have seen one of the API, the fulfillment API, when I added, I passed client ID, secret ID, right? So when you are going to query during that time, you are going to pass a, the client ID, secret ID. But if I have configured as a basic authentication, that will have a different parameters. Okay, username, password parameters, it will be there. So now when you are going to query, in the query, you need to pass that authorization details. But I will show that in even the while execution. Because of we added that mechanism, so that is the reason as a parameters it went. But actually, when you are going to execute, run this query, right? You are not, okay, still it is going to take some time. So when you are going to query, you are not going to pass it over here, any authorization mechanism details, but in the query you are going to pass, because of as of now, you can see you are passing only the ID over here, right? When I'm going to query the fulfillment details, here it is going to allow 3 parameters, client ID, secret ID, that you are going to pass. In case of if we have configured basic authentication, that username, password as a parameters, it will go. Okay, that is in the query, you need to pass it. I hope that might be answered your question. But if not, you can, yeah, I will show even the execution part. That time you can ask me again. Number of APIs that can be added. Yes, that's there is a limitation. Up to 250 APIs you can add it into the data graph. Okay, that I will talk about the limitation part again. Can I get the? Okay, I think Mohit. I think if the authorization of the API is worth 2, where the token get the refresh, can we have this configured in the data graph? No, that is not still not there. I have shown already only those options currently it is provided by the data graph. So we have only the client ID, secret ID, basic auth, and some policies if we have applied through the custom headers, you can pass that. Only those mechanisms as of now it is supported by the data graph. Okay, still updating it is. Yeah, any other questions we can take it, or if anybody wants to share, I think you can share.
Amir, I had a question. Like, suppose if you pass the wrong key, so do we get an error or do we get?
Yes, we will get an error.
Okay.
I will show that. Okay. Okay, I'm passing this wrong ID over here, but I'm trying to access these elements. If I'm going to run this query, you can see that the field this first name was declared as a not null type, but it is code is involved in the receiving data wrongly returned data value. That means it's not returning these elements, but my response, whatever I defined in my RAML, this is mandatory, but it's not going to give you the exact error, that one. But okay, I will show that one thing over here. Okay, that is error data type actually. Over here, I don't have error data type over here. If I have error data type, that will give. Okay, so that is okay. So there is one more thing. The status should be there. The status also not there over here, but in another API, I have a status field that will give fail or success. That response it will be shown that we can access. But when you are trying to access the first name, but in my response I defined as a mandatory, that is not returning. That's why it is giving this error. So that is how the errors are going to return in a query. So all the queries, so in the query, if whatever the elements you are trying to access it, if they are the mandatory, those errors are going to show here, not null values. Okay, that is how the errors are going to show over here, because of whatever the elements you are going to query, for all the queries elements, it is going to give you a different errors. Now you can see it is up to date over here. Okay, now let me put it Control Z over here. Now I want to access these elements from the customer API, and then I want to get some more details from the fulfillment API. You can see somebody has that authorization mechanism. I want to pass it right over here. You can see when I put it the control space, you can pass these 3 parameters: client ID, client secret, And okay, let me put it this into within a double quotation. I need to add it that client ID, secret ID over here. Then I need to fulfillment ID based on the ID I want to get it. Okay, these three things I need to pass it. So now let me get it that client ID, secret ID from here. My API has already. This is client ID, Control A, Control C, and I'm going to pass it this client ID over here. And then I have a client secret over here. I'm going to pass it over here. This is how we can pass it the different secure mechanism. So because of when you add it over there in a data graph, during that time itself, it will configure as a query, as a parameters over here. Okay, username password also is going to pass it as it is like this. Now let me get a details. I have this ID related fulfillment details. I want to fetch it, so I can pass it that ID over here. Maybe the query I need to check again. So now I might close this. Maybe let me copy this query because of I'm not able to see all the data. It is closed over here. I can put it one more braces over here. Now whatever it is exposed by this method, now the ID I want to get it, and tracking company I want to get it, and status I need to get it. When I run this query now, you can see now, okay, this is invalid syntax is coming something. I need to check my, okay, yes, there is extra over here. Okay, still invalid. Let me see, copy. Client IDs, client secret, ID, which I'm passing over here. Looks good over here as of now. Let me try to remove this. Okay, Control Z. I'm getting only the customer details as of now. Let me try to get it these details also similarly. Maybe I will access separately, then I will try to add it because of there is some query issue. Yes, it is correct only over here. Now customer by ID, this is the details which I can access similarly. So I can write this query over here. You can see now, this is from the fulfillment API. This is from the customer API. I can access these details.
Amit, I think
Yes.
fulfillment by ID is the child for customer by ID. If you go inside
Actually,
that,
yes.
yeah. So you
That's
know,
correct.
yeah. If you write
That's correct.
no previous query, I'm saying in previous query
Oh,
also you
okay.
can correct it. Yeah. If you go to
Okay, maybe
inside that method, yeah, this fulfillment if you copy inside, yeah. So yeah, go
okay, it is
inside.
outside.
Yeah, it's outside.
No, you can query from the outside. Okay, you can see you can't access it within this. Okay, so for example, if I access it over here within the customer API, you can't access that that separate. This is separate API call. Okay, this is separate query actually. I can say
Okay,
because of each,
fulfillment is yeah. Okay, fulfillment is
yeah,
implemented. Order
yes,
is be connected with customer ID, right?
yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Now, similarly, whatever exposed methods, when you put control space, it is going to come over here. Orders, when I say, so over here, I can access it, list of orders, whatever the details I have. Billing address. Okay. So billing address have some details, the name I want to access it from this. Okay. So is it a query issue? I don't think so, but let me try. Invalid syntax still. Okay. So this query is right. This is query GraphQL. We need to learn little bit so to access these queries. Otherwise, here it is going to give anyways this mechanism control space actually. So ID, I can pass it something over here. I have some order ID. Let me get that order ID. Get order IDs. And I can pass it this, and we can access it this. So I can check the status as of now. So we can get it, these queries you need to write. So you can see this status is in progress. This is how we can get it. Now I just want to, I know we have time less. So let me copy this URL. You can try to copy this URL, okay? And you can test it from the Postman itself, this directly also. I'm going to pass it over here. It is get method. And you can see this is the client ID. So what I'm going to do over here in a headers, I'm going to pass it client ID as this one. And over here, the secret, client secret, this is my client secret, which I'm going to pass it over here. And over here, now we need to pass a query, right? When you want to pass a query, go to the body, query, GraphQL provided by the Postman over here. Whatever I have over here, this GraphQL, copy this query and pass it from here, from the Postman, and you can query directly from here also. You can see the data is going to return over here also. So this is how also we can test it from the external also, not only from the data graph. You can access this, and the URL you are going to get it from this data graph over here. Okay, that is external. And we can troubleshoot. You can see the response log. We can check the logs also, how much time and all it took and all. What are the logs? So for this this transaction ID, this is the request details and all it is going to have. So you can track it, the logs over here, as well as if you want to see the trace the query, run this query, and it is going to give you over here the response timings also. So if you see the customer by ID, it took 126 milliseconds, and to get only the first name, it is less than 1 milliseconds it took. So that means using this data graph, what will happen now? You don't have to access 100 fields from the customer API. If you have 100 fields, whatever the customer need, those fields it can be retrieved. So the response time also can be less, and the whatever the information required with a single query. Now with this single query I have shown, you are going to get it from the 3 different APIs data, right? That is how the data graph is going to help you out over here. Clear this one? So that is the demo part. So maybe quick, I have done it over here now. So shown that how we can add into data graph, how we can merge it, link it, as well as collaboration, how to add it, and then multiple APIs queries with a single query, multiple APIs data, how we can get it from the single query. That is also I have shown over here. Okay, so okay, let me talk about quickly the some of the limitations. Okay, so then I will take some questions again. So somebody asked, is there any limit to add it? So I already mentioned it can get only method will be used over here. Okay, and REST APIs with the RAML OS specification only going to support as of now. Not sure in the future by what MuleSoft is going to provide. Up to 250 APIs can be in a single unified schema. You can add it. And again, so my API, each API has 1,000 fields. Then you can add it only up to 16,000 fields only to the unified schema. And unified schema downstream API calls. You can maximum of 150 concurrent and ongoing calls for unified schema. That means, so now we are added 3 API calls, right? You can add it in a query only up to 150 concurrent ongoing calls. Sorry, not this exactly, sorry. So only I access it from the Postman, right? Similarly, if anybody want to access it, that unified schema, only 150 clients can access at the same time, okay? And the timeout for call, so that means for each call, it is going to take 5 seconds maximum timeout. Okay, this is the timeout. By default, it is there. And for each response data, it is 5 MB data, you can access it. Now you can see, maybe let me show over here. I can see here 1200 560 bytes it is access the data, but maximum it can be accessible 5 MB in the response data. Then another limitation is for each query, 30 seconds is the timeout per query. Okay, maximum you can access it 100 selected fields per the query. That means from the customer API, you can only access it only 100 elements, selected fields, I can say. Okay, only 100 fields only you can query it. That is another limitation. Then the another thing is, if you see my steps over here, my query, if I go to over here from the customer API, I want to access address over here. Within the address, I want to access it some more elements, right? The name or something. Similarly, if I have a sub data types over here, so you can access it up to 6 levels only. I think yes, up to 6 levels only you can access it. Now my length is over here. This is root 1, then this is the second level, right? Sub level. So like this, you can put it up to 6 levels and maximum depth of 100 fields for the query. So that means the depth is over here. This is one depth. This is another depth. That is a root depth, which is internal depth is this one, the second depth. Okay, so 100 fields and 6 depth is we can access it. That are the limitations as of now in a data graph.
Yeah, we can mention that primary key also limitation.
Yes, yes, yes. And good, but I haven't, maybe that much put on that. But yes, good. Thank you for that, Ashish. It is even learning for me. Yeah. So that's it on demo part. Maybe last I went it some quickly to show that. Is there any encryption process for the fields and queries? It is kind of a query language, I can say. If you learn about GraphQL more, you might explore those all. Okay, the encryption process as well as querying and all, you can get it from the GraphQL. So you can learn this something. This language is going to help you out for this, even for the data graph, how we can access the data and all. This is going to help you out more. If we have a calling two APIs and one API failed with a timeout and another failed with a call and one call, okay, it is going to return the errors, whatever it is failed over here. So let me show you over here. I don't have this data over here. If I try to access it, what will happen? You can see. I think it is completely giving an error. That is also new thing now for me. So you can see it is completely, sorry, it is going to return the errors as well as whatever the API data you are accessing, that details also it is going to return. That means the failed details are going to show over here under errors. Under data, what it is successful calls, that data is going to return. Okay.
Yeah, Amir, Ashish.
I have a question.
Yes, Ashish.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Nothing, man. Yeah, go ahead.
So, like response logs, which we see, right? Is it following Cloud where we have?
Okay, good question. Maybe yes, maybe, but I'm not sure yet. Okay, this one because of I haven't found anything. But I hope it might be the same because of it is going to store it in AnyPoint float form. It might be applicable the same thing.
Because the filter which I see, so that's
yes.
where like
yes, but yes, I'm not sure completely, but yes, but it is as per AnyPoint platform. It might have the same limitation for this also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could see data graph is a competitor for our experience API, but I could see very good application for system API also, because from system API we are pulling data to the process API, and from process API it's going to the experience API, and then it goes to the client, right? So a lot of pressure on the transport, when we are doing transport. So if we do that at a system level also, because we see, even I need a one field, I'm pulling entire data, object from this system layer. And then anyway, those are all calls, right? So anyway, we are using network. So right now, if I see, the only data graph is there on the experience API, but maybe, I don't know, in future, or I'm just putting thought, if it could be a good application for system API also, right?
That's correct. Even currently also, you expose as a data graph this URL. Now, if you want from the process API, if you want to call any API, right, for getting only one element, it is better to not to use directly system API call. You can use directly the data graph call to query only that single element also.
Yeah, because wherever I'm reading, right, it's just saying that for multiple experience API you can use this, but I can see the good application for system API also. From there only we are pushing data to all the layers.
Yes.
If there itself I put a bottleneck, right? Okay, you are asking me only one field, I'll give only one field.
One field, yes, that is good thing, yes. So we can use that way also, this one. So yes, so as of now, it is going to support only the get methods. So hope in the future it is going to maybe useful. But one thing is data graph. This is querying the data always. The GraphQL also, whatever it is mostly for the querying that results. Okay, so that how much it is possible, maybe in the future we need to see. Even can it be used or anything, we need to see also. And another thing, when I mentioned, as soon as I add any API to the data graph, it is going to add the metadata to my data graph, right? But if we have a post method in my API RAML, is it going to add those data types? No, it's not going to add those data types into any data graph in a unified schema. It is going to add the data types which are from the only get methods. Okay, that is the point to note. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Ruxana and Ravi, I think it is taking more time. That's fine, right?
Yeah, so we are 5 minutes beyond. That
yeah.
is not an issue. So we can take more questions if anybody wants to ask.
Yes, the web services, yes, right? It used to take more time and all. I think this is going to help you more because of web services might have hundreds of fields and all. Which will help, getting the required fields and all. Yeah.
Thank you, Amit, from my side.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amit, this is a wonderful actually session. We wanted to have this quiz session also. So if anybody want to ask question, it is fine. If not, then we can proceed.
We will go for yes.
Thank you, Amir, for your session. To be honest, even though it is more than 1.5 hours, it passed just like that. Even when I just talked, then only I realized that it is 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
hope somebody might be not bored or anything. I hope it is interesting.
No, this is a new thing, right?
Yes.
Definitely, it will keep evolving as the time goes. Like, also I would like to thank Ashish for sharing his experience. Right, I think people have just started using it. I think there will be some limitations. Yeah, it's really. I don't know. I think very few people might have got a chance to work, but it's really good, right?
To be frankly, it is started, released around first week of May.
Yeah.
Still, the MuleSoft has updated the document a bit late also, after a week or something. They keep on updating still now also. So, in the mid of May also, there is no much documentation also for this. Yeah. So, good thing to learn this one. Even though if it is using in your organization or not, but try to explore and try to implement it in your projects also where it is possible.
Because in our MuleSoft Connect also they talked about this feature, right? That means we can understand what is the importance that MuleSoft is giving, and definitely I see whatever the limitation that we talked about, they will definitely overcome on that.
That's correct. Yes. It is going, it is just started this product, so a lot of improvements we can see.
Ashish, you mentioned just now, you mentioned, right? What is the similar product or feature? You said who similar to that? Is there any other product using a similar kind of thing?
No, Ravi. No.
No, I think you said something, right? I thought similar feature, maybe some other integration product also using. That's what you mentioned about some name that I just want to check.
No, not any other product, but we have a GraphQL already.
Ravi. Yeah, GraphQL already there.
Yeah. So this can be, but it is, you need to know that what fields you can access it. But using this data graph, you can put it control space. You can see what it is exposed. I think somebody asked the question also. So I think I forgot that question might be. So the query, documentation, right? Yes. So over here, when I put a control space, this customer by ID exposes only these elements. That is how we can see as of now. But we don't have any documentation as of now for this to export it. Yeah.
So this is for developer friendly, but
yes, that's correct.
Documentation in case of suppose I want to show to the external client or
yes. So as of now, we don't have such one. Maybe I hope it will come soon. Sure.
A few more points when you are adding this query right inside your data view. Okay, so you'll face a few issues when we are adding it, so be careful there, because if you have order by and all those things, right, you need to use dollar there, and then you need to escape that dollar and properly need to write it.
Yes, that's correct. So in a query language, so the GraphQL, if you are aware of, we can declare as a variables and we can pass it for another APIs and all. So that if you more explore on query language, how we can do this API query, then you can better way you can write this query also. As of now, I directly written these queries, right? You can make it better, these queries also.
Yeah, it's actually moving towards functional programming language, right? So
yes.
Our world is going that way, but functional programming hides a lot of things. Okay, so you need to be very careful when you're using those things.
Yes.
So, and hard to understand. Haskell. I took one course like the language name Haskell. Okay, so I'll give one example. If you convert our operating system code into Haskell, right, it will be in thousands only.
Yes.
It will be thousands. Right now we have millions of lines, right?
Yes.
If you convert it to Haskell, it will be thousands.
Okay.
But the readability part and that complexity part, a lot of things will be done. So that's one thing. I wanted to add something, but I forgot.
Okay. But really good. Thank you for sharing that also. It adds on to what we present here.
Yeah.
It should be like, presentation, learning from each other. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you said, right, this feature added in May 1st week, right? I started spreading, about this data graph in that week itself. Okay. I posted 2-3 videos.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So, I really like GraphQL because it is there. It started by Facebook, and then, it's, if you use GraphQL with MongoDB, right? It is awesome combination.
Yeah.
Awesome combination.
I saw this data graph in last year, maybe MuleSoft Connect. They presented in the MuleSoft Connect, I think so. It was not released, that product, but they presented very well that time. Okay, I was so interested at the time, because even though those the presentation what they have done, the linkage and all, right, each objects and all, it is clearly mentioned over there. So I was eagerly waiting that time, but I never saw that. But recently, when I saw this product release, I was really interested, started exploring more on it. Yeah.
Good. I mean.
Okay, so thank you. I think we can. I think if there is no questions, then we will take it and quiz part. Roxana, is that fine?
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Amir, for sharing a wonderful session. Let me just share my screen.
Okay, you are going to share that, or can we
Yes.
go with this? Maybe time constraint.
Okay, but
You,
here we cannot poll the results.
okay, you want to you want to give a results, is it? Or we can
Yeah.
somebody note it the answers. Is that fine?
Uh,
Who put it in chat and all?
okay, we can do one thing. I'm sharing you a link. You can open it.
No, in the PPT it is there, right? So what I'm telling is, I will show a question over here. Okay.
Okay. Okay, go
Somebody,
ahead. Anything is fine.
yeah. So the quiz is, I'm going to present over here question. Okay. So there is a 4 options in that for each question, the answers. You need to present whatever the right answer. You need to say A or B, whatever it is. You can put it in the chat. So whoever is put the first question, the first, they will be the right answer. We will consider them as the first person. Is that okay, Rexana and everyone? So you can note it down immediately, the question, whoever is answered, their name. Then second question, who put it that in the chat, they can, or maybe you can, if you want to, you are experienced in this, I don't know, other, if you want to go with this, you can go with that quiz, yeah. You can put
Okay,
it in the chat.
anything is
You want to
fine.
share, you can share your screen. I will stop it, okay?
Okay, not an issue.
Thank you, I'm stopping.
Okay, thank you. Able to see?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, so I would like to request everybody to just enter this pin in that Kahoot player. I guess everybody is aware of this. Just log into this www.kahoot.it and enter this pin. I will get all of your details here. The participation will be visible. Then I can start the quiz. So I can see Satya join. Okay, good. Please log in as soon as you can. So everybody is joined. Okay. Shall I start?
Go ahead, I think so. We have already 21 people.
Okay. Okay, let me just start. Each questions has 10 seconds. You can just quickly. We'll see the results at last. Okay. Sai. Next question. Correct answers is get. This is the next question. Great. This is the last question, guys. Okay, so they are the winners. So I guess we can wrap up this session. I would like to thank all of you for joining and giving us a good participation. Thank you, Amir, for a wonderful session. Thank you, Ravi, for your time. And thank you, Ashish.
I think
Thank you.
we need to ask the winners' email IDs because
I
maybe you
guess
can send it, right?
yeah, I guess I will get them from the participation as. But somehow in like you can, I will be posting the session on the LinkedIn. You can just ping me. But I guess we can pick Ravi from the participation email ID.
Sure.
Again, thank you, Ruksar and Ravi, for this opportunity, and thank you all for attending this. Any questions or anything, you can share your knowledge also. You can connect through the LinkedIn and all. Thank you all.